Hey, Oakapi gang! Today we're going to be talking about 5 commonly asked questions for Elestrals, the new card game brought to you by Adra. Um, the first question is going to be, what do we know about the Kickstarter so far? The Kickstarter is coming in mid-late November. We a lot of what we know came out in a box opening that A Drive did on a live stream today, which a lot of information came out, big news, but a lot of it's not solid yet. So if I say something, don't take me at this, don't take A Drive at this. It could be changed. That being said, the price will depend on how many people order. If a ton of people order, the price goes down because it costs less to mass produce things. Like the per unit goes down as you order more. Um, if like the high end is about $120, but if it really takes off, really hits it, Dan would love to get it down to $99. He's trying to get it as low as possible because he's looking more for a large quantity than um, a smaller quantity, but at a higher price. He really wants to get the cards in people's hands. Um, he also mentioned that the starter decks will still be available. They'll be around $25 to $30, depending on the same thing. But there will still be a combo like there was with the Proto launch, where if you buy all 5, you'll get a discounted price. The price he said he's thinking about $100 for that, but that could also change depending on how many people order, what the prices are looking like, all of that. The biggest news that I think he said today was um, the number of stellars will be increased just for the Kickstarter run, which drastically impacts how you should be thinking about buying into this game. That means that the value of a box will be a lot higher than a value of a first edition box. So I would lean more toward the box side for this product, but there are a couple of caveats we'll talk about later. The run will have a Kickstarter logo, like where the logo is for the Proto run. Let's get my little Satorber here. Um, in this corner, we have the Proto mark. The Kickstarter cards will have a KS there instead, and it will denote that they are from the Kickstarter run. In other Kickstarter games, we've seen that the Kickstarter cards tend to hold a lot more value, especially sealed product. But here at Oakapi Gang, we want you to play with your cards. We don't want you to just sit them in there and try to resell them and never touch them, never play the game. We are advocates of getting them out and playing your cards and collecting them, finding the cards that really make you happy and running with those. Um, And alongside, we also know a couple other things that are coming out with the Kickstarter, but they haven't really been announced price point or tiers or how it's going to work. We know that there are like 5 plushies. Um, he said that 4 of them have already been produced. I mean, we've seen Nimbug and we've seen Sprout here. I would guess by the way that he asked Twitter, my money would be on Pandasine for the 5th one that is currently in production. One of the other big news items today that was asked about is that shipping outside of the U.S. will be available, but it will work different. Um, they've said that shipping will be charged separately than your Kickstarter purchase. There will be a chart to tell you how much you should expect to pay for shipping depending on your location. And based on that chart, you'll be charged for your Kickstarter order, then you'll be charged later for the shipping costs separately. And for people outside of the US, the cards will not be shipped, like they won't be printed here and then flown out over there. The printing will happen over there, or some other or transported by boat. Um, but the shipping will be different, but it shouldn't be, insurmountable amounts of money compared to what it could be. He's trying his best to keep the cost down for everybody, including our homies and our little gangies outside the US. Okay, now that we've covered the first question, which is probably the second longest question, let's go on to the second question, which is water good? Water is kind of the joke of Elestrals right now. It is the one that everybody's excited to play. We all love the water designs. Glaucus is one of the favorites. One of my favorite cards that people don't seem as attached to is Aphiros. I love Nexusing. I think Nexus is what makes this game a little bit different from all the other games. And I'm a Pisces, so um, yeah, Aphiros. I really love that card. It's water. I feel like I lean more toward grass for designs overall, but Glaucus and Aphiros are like my top two. But water is currently pretty bad in the starter decks. In the pro starter decks, pretty bad. It has options. Um, it just doesn't have as much impact. And really, what it feels like to me is that there's just not as much interaction. You can't stop what they're doing as much or as efficiently as in other decks. Like you can do things like turn them all to defense and then knock them over with your little destroy defense guys. Um, but yeah, water's not good. But Dan has said that in the full set, there's a lot of cards that make water a lot better. And then water also, there's a lot of ways it can grow. I mean, I guess you could say that about any of the elements, but um, I mean, it has a lot of extension, but it doesn't have a lot of interaction. Is how I feel when I play water. Question three, probably, yeah, that's gonna be the biggest question. Is should you buy Elestrals? And we're gonna look at this from three different aspects, like basically, what is your goal? If you are an investor and you're just wondering, can I make money off of Lestrals? The answer is yes. Buy as much Kickstarter as you can. Hold on to it until the official release, and then see if the game's going to take off or if it's um here at Oakapi Gang. We don't like that. We want you to open up your cards, play with them, collect them. But if you're an investor just wondering, can I make money off this? Yeah, you will be able to. Kickstarter boxes will be the best way to do that. Buy as much Kickstarter boxes as you can, um, because the Kickstarter boxes tend to hold more value in Kickstarter card games, and there is likely to be a heightened stellar pull rate, um, which stellars are supposed to be really hard to pull after the official release, but they're supposed to be a lot easier to pull right now, and those will be the money cards of the game. So, from a player aspect, should you pick up this game to play it? And that's going to be the really tough question with this game. Um, so, can you convince people to play it? Can you call up your friend group and say, hey, I want you guys to buy some of this game so that we can all play it? Will they put their money down? If I did that, ain't nobody putting their money down. Um, so you got to think about that. If you're just in it to play this game, if you're gonna buy paper cards, who are you expecting to play that with? A Drive is, I mean, I looked at the analytics a little bit, trying to figure out, how big is this game so far? Google Analytics doesn't have a lot of information yet, but it does seem highly focused in the US. But the US is a really big place. I looked at how long, and this goes into another subset. Um, I looked at how long I would have to travel to go play MetaZoo or Flesh and Blood, which I feel like are the biggest comparisons as newcomers that are trying to make a big splash in the card game space. I would have to travel more than an hour to enter a sanctioned MetaZoo or Flesh and Blood event. And personally, I'm not going to drive an hour, which is a 2 hour round trip, to every week to play a game. I'm not going to do it. I can just sit at home. I can play Marvel Snap. That's what I've been playing a heck ton of lately. I'm not going to travel a 2 hour round trip to play a card game. So if you're wanting to play, are you willing to play an online tournament? That part's a little trickier for me. I would be willing to try it, but I don't like being on calls for long periods of time. And I'm not a super competitive person, and I feel like if you're playing a card game online, you're pretty competitive. But I'd be open to trying it. I'd also be open to trying to judge, um, but my schedule is also kind of restrictive. But that is an option open anywhere. They also have talked about wanting to do regionals. That would require travel, and it would just be one day, it wouldn't be every week. That's something that I feel like would be really interesting for people in my situation that are like, I don't know who I'm going to play this with. Um, but we'll have to see kind of what the rewards are for doing that too, because I mean, if you spend $100 for gas money and then the prize is like $200, it's like, but there's a lot of people here. And then the third group of people, you got investors, players. The third group is collectors. I think this game, where it really shines, and it's going to sound like Pokemon, is for collectors. Um, the gameplay is pretty good. Um, like I said, Nexusing is my favorite thing to do in this game because that's the thing that feels. It makes me kind of feel like remember like Bionicles, um, where you're switching up your power around. Especially, I want to see if they will be doing special ability energies. I pitched the idea on Discord and it kind of got ignored. Of you could have special attack spirits, um, where you can't use them to pay for cards, but you can use them if you get a certain Elestral out. I think there's a lot that you can do, and there's a billion other ideas you could do with spirits, and Nexusing could act very differently for each one. I guess I'm an Elestrologist now. I don't know. Is there a spiritologist and an ectologist? The Oakapi gang is pro seance. Um, seance is in talking to the dead, not I don't know. But this game is super cool for collectors. You have the full arts, the alternate arts, and the stellar rares. I saw a couple of people asking about this too, so I'll go over it a little bit. The alternate art, let's see. I guess I can pull some cards out. This Nimbug, for example, is an alternate art. It is not the same art in the main set for Nimbug. This is a different art than the normal art. But it's still contained within the card frame, and it has the identical ability. I do not have any full art cards. I don't think anybody that got the proto decks got those, but they will be identical mechanically, but they will be outside of the border. There will not be the border restricting the card. It will come out over here. over here. There will still be the title, but it could come up here too. I mean, theoretically, you could just do whatever you wanted in this space, but it's the same mechanically, and that's really important from a collector standpoint and from a player standpoint. From a player standpoint, that means that you could get the version of this, um, like you could have the basic version like this, or you could have the hollow version. I'm assuming there will not be a full art of Sproutier, um, but if there was, you could play it the same mechanically. And the base card will have a different price from the hollow, which will have a different price from the full art, and it will have a different price from the alternate art. The stellar rares, I'm not sure if they're all hollow, but they will be the super expensive ones that do not come in every box. You could pull 2, 3 boxes and then, oh, no stellar rare. That I would assume would mean the price goes on those. Um, but that's the cool thing about collecting this. It will be a super exciting game to open boxes of because you could always open, that Black Phoenix. When Dan announced, or when he flipped up a Dark Phoenix, me as an X-Men fan, I was like, I am the Dark Phoenix. Um, the art in the game, um, I have mixed feelings. I mean, I'm Brian on the go on the Discord. I've, I've committed probably 20 hours to fan art for this game. Um, but I will say I think it's hit or miss. I think there are some cards that have excellent art, and then there are some cards that like aren't fully rendered, and then there are some cards that are like good for most of the picture and then a little clumsy on some parts. And then there's like think of Mount Olympus, like whoa, that art's so good. The designs on the monsters themselves are all really good. This is something that I've noticed having done the art. We can go over the style in some other video or whatever, but the design of the individual Elestrals are really good. Stellar, you might even say. And then the community. Now, I'm going to say for now, the community is going to be a question mark. Um, the current community is fabulous. You have a lot of good people that just want to lift each other up. They want everybody to have fun, and they really want to get in and play the game. Um, I'm nervous to see with the Kickstarter release what it's going to be like. I would say right now I mean, I think A Drive can handle it. I think he said it in one of his videos himself. He has spent years navigating, or he said in the Discord, he spent years navigating communities. That's why he's so popular online, is he's good at navigating a community, and I really have faith in him that he can foster a good community. Which is something that the card game uh, larger community could use. Just a community where you can come in and be valued unconditionally, where you can come in and feel like you have a voice. Bigger card games right now really feel like they don't listen to players, or they don't communicate with players, or they are just pushing more and more for the money of players. Um, Dan is looking to make money. He wants to make money. We all do. But it's community first. It's he wants to make a great game, and then I mean, as long as it pays itself off and he gets compensated for his time and can take care of his family, he's good. Um, and I think that that's all that a community needs. You need a leader and a group underneath them that's going to listen to the community. I think that is really going to be what separates this game from other games. Um, think about Panda Scene. That sucker is so cute. Um, the community had one shot to get it right, and by George, we got it right. But I think this game will live or die based on the community, and I think the Kickstarter will be the time where you really see what the community will be long term. I have faith in Dan that he can make it work, and and the people that are already in the community are excellent people. Um, but that's something to be looking at. If you're trying to make a financial decision, is it worth playing? Are you gonna like the people that are playing? The three sub points, just to go over them again, because it's 3 a.m. We let ourselves ramble. Was, can you convince people to play? Are you willing to travel? Do you want to play online tournaments? And then for collectors, I mean, it's good monsters. The art has some really good highlights, and the community is, honestly, I'll put it out there. I think it's the best community for a card game that is currently out. On average, now there's great people in every community, and there's rough people in every community. But so far, it's just like, I mean, everybody's just nice, you know. that we're, we like there have been a little bump or whatever, but the people that stick around are the people that just want to uplift each other, and I think that's what every community needs is people that uplift each other. The fourth question: will there be a digital game or video game for Elestrals? Will you be able to play it digitally? Okay, the answer to this is not right now, and not for years. Um, think about Marvel Snap, which I mentioned earlier. In their commercial, they advertise it took us 4 years to make this game. 4 years of hard work. I was in the mine slaving about how many energy Iron Man should cost. Um, and it takes years for these things. It takes years to code it, to make the art, to make the transitions, to make the frames, to make the interactions and rulings work correctly. Um, it takes years to make it, and years means that it takes a lot of money to make it. Takes, I mean, on that scale, it probably took millions of dollars. Um, and that might be a low estimate. I don't know. I don't make digital video games. Um, but compared to the scale of Elestrals right now, that is super out of the depth. That would be a goal. And if it gets there, it gets there. Um, if the money gets there, that will be something they start looking at. For a digital client, a video game is something that that it seems less keen on. It seems to be more of it does seem to be more of a card game focused kind of thing. Um, I've been making pixel art. If other people that know how to make have made Fakimon games in the past, want to start teaming up, and we could start just, making the Elestrials games happen. Um, I mean, I'm down. Um, so yeah, I don't. There's not gonna be a video game anytime soon. It's gonna take years. If it happens, just assume no. Honestly, just assume no, and then if it happens, just be blown away. But I would say honestly, it'll be 5 or 6 years at least if it does happen. The last question of the video: what should I buy? If you're an investor or collector, the Oakapi gang can take or leave you. The Oakapi gang does not affiliate with the Investor Guild. But if you're an investor, just buy as many boxes as you can. Don't worry about the decks. Don't worry about the plushies. Don't worry about the playmats. Just buy as many Kickstarter boxes as you can. honestly, even when the first edition comes out, ignore those. Just buy as many Kickstarter boxes as you can. If I was a collector, I would, or if I was just investing, I would rather have one Kickstarter box than three first edition boxes. Honestly, I would start thinking about it after that, but I would say boxes. But if you're a player or a collector, my recommendation will be different. Um, my personal recommendation is that you find the person you're going to be playing a lot with first. Um, for me, it's probably going to be my girlfriend or my friend, Patrick. Um, get with them, split the price. Okay. So Elestrals, I don't know if you've played or not, but you have to have spirits, and the spirits have to match the cards in your deck, or you won't be able to play, or you'll be able to misenchant your cards, but a misenchanted card is like a bad date. Okay, you don't. It's a worse experience than it was worth. Um, so for example, in the grass deck, you have Taratlis, who is the earth spirit. You have Lakyrus, who's the wind spirit. And you have Leviathan, who's the water spirit. You can't play a water card, like, you can't Tsunami unless you have a Leviathan in your spirit deck. And if you want to play a water deck or you want to play a earth deck, you can't do that unless you have the spirits necessary. So if you are buying the game to be a player, unless you're buying like a case or something, you really do need a starter deck to go with. Um, I would recommend you and your friend each pick out an element. I would recommend that you pick different elements from each other. I'd recommend you do not both be water players because I would recommend that you go in with your friend and you split the cost. Say you both want say I mean I kind of want to play earth. I want to be an earth main. Maybe earth water. Um Tropical beach, I call it that, or calypso. Um so say I want to play earth and water. Then I would find a friend who wants to play summer winds, fire wind. Of course, I'm going to lose the game, but I'm going to have pretty cards. Because what we're going to do is we'll put the money together. That will be $150 to $180, depending on what the prices fall for the Kickstarter. So if I buy two $25 decks and a $100 booster box, that puts us at $150. If you go up to the higher range, it'll be 180, and that's discounting shipping. So it'll be more than that. It'll be I would estimate about $200 if you're serious about wanting to play this game. Then you get your two decks, and then you get your box. When you get the box, split the packs in half. Your friend takes half the packs, you take half the packs. If you split the cost, you've both spent about $100. I know it's a lot of money to get into the game, but this is the best chance. Like, I mean, it is the best time to hop into the game financially too, because the cards that you get now will be worth more later than the cards that you can get later. Um, so now that you have the box, you open the packs that you split in half. All the neutral cards from the packs you keep. Um, if Earth, Fire, Wind, and Water are taken, then you just split up the electric cards. Or you just keep whatever electric cards you pulled and all the generic cards that you pulled, keep those to yourself, and then the other person keeps them to their self. And if you want to trade, I mean, you can trade. Yeah, I mean, it's part of card games. But my recommendation, seriously, my recommendation, if you want to be a player, find somebody else that you can convince into playing. who is willing to lay down $100 and will play with you. Go in together, buy 2 decks and a box. Cut the cost and play together. Um, I personally already bought 2 decks, so that we could play. I'll probably go for 2 or 3 boxes myself, since I already have the decks that I can play with. Because I'm not looking to be the high level player. If you are looking to be the high level player, it just depends on the pool rates and what decks are going to land. Right now, the tournaments that they're going to be running, they've said you'll have the sideboard from the original deck that you got, but you can't use cards from outside of that. I think that's so that they're conscientious of not pricing people out. I think that they're going to try really hard not to price people out of tournaments. So that has been our 5 commonly asked questions about MetaZoo for November, or going into November. I'm going into Kickstarter month. Um, I'm Bry, your Oakapi leader. Um, Oakapi gang is not affiliated with any real gang activity. Quite the opposite. We support happiness and uplifting each other. Um, we aim to just make everybody's day better, have as much good information out there, be supportive, um, be nice, and also to get, my idea into to turn it into an Elestral card. We got to work our way up there, I think. Um, but Well, give me suggestions on what else you'd like to see. A couple ideas that I have are 5 strengths of Elestrals, 5 weaknesses of Elestrals. I've thought about, I have a degree in economics, so I could break down more financially what it looks like. I think Dan is doing an incredible job financially on this game so far. I think it's right where it needs to be successful. Um, and then obviously I can do my favorites video. Um, and I think it'd be cool to just do like casual deck techs, like I'd mentioned. Yeah, the Veritaqua. Yeah, Veritaqua. I love that card. uh, it's not one of my favorites, like design wise, because there are a lot of really sweet designs in this game. But the Veritaqua, like the idea of you just turn all their stuff to defense and just blow it up. Man, it's simple caveman brain, but I love it. Well, y'all have a great night. And Okapi Gang signing out.